admit it hasn't, and I'll admit I haven't done a lot of talking about this myself, but it has to do with speaking to the audience.
What do you mean?
Aha, that's bringing this up. And the thing is that when I was, when I was growing up and I would see my brothers and my father's show, one thing I noticed is that they would have a dialogue with the audience, and they would introduce the tunes, they would introduce the band members. Sometimes they may say a little joke that's like funny or something, in the moment, but there's a dialogue with the audience. And so, introducing tunes, but also just, being excited about it and wanting, like, you're happy to be there and you're happy to see them. So you're happy to tell them about the music that you guys are going to play, and you're going to tell them all about it.
Right.
In fact, I'll admit that even for myself, there's been times that, and I've had to edit myself, where sometimes I'll be a little too long-winded, because I'm telling the story and I'm trying to tell all of it. And you have some folks that are into that, some aren't. Sometimes it can be, sometimes you can just say something simple like, this is the name of this tune. And maybe if there's a story, make it really brief.
Right.
So now I'll admit, sometimes I may have been a little long-winded because I've been overreacting to some shows I've seen lately where you have dudes that will say nothing.
Wow.
And the first lesson I got on that was from my parents, oddly enough, about them. When my father started to play the music with musicians like Gregory Agid's mentor, Alvin Batiste, and Matt Parrott, and great tenor saxophone players. This was like in the 1960s, so those solos were long.
Right.
Like ridiculously long. Like no one should play this long. to the point where when talking with my father, and I said, well, man, when y'all played minute solos, that's a long time, right? And he looked at me and said, 30? He was like, you're not close to the number. So sometimes back with solo for an hour, and man, he'd be playing for 45 minutes, 30 longer than 30. So that was way too, but I bring that up because I also then heard that Dolores, who, would end up being my mother, went to one of the shows and hated it and told them about it. And, she said, man, y'all get up there and start playing. Y'all don't announce no tunes. Y'all don't tell people what y'all playing. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Dad told me, Dolores, she told us about that. And that was an interesting lesson, even for me. I'm thinking, nobody would announce any tune. Y'all would just play. But the thing is, there's some guys who do that now. They just go up, play, and say nothing. But the thing is, you have to engage your audience, because we're at a point right now where, sadly, the huge majority of the audience, especially the music that I play, they don't really know what this music is. Like, they don't know why it was great. There's a lot of things that have gotten lost. I mean, maybe it can be found, but there's a lot of things that have gotten lost. It reminds me of a story that I heard about my older brother, Wynton, when he first got to New York. And there were some people in the audience that would tell him, when he first got there, and they would say, man, what is it that you're playing, man? I mean, you're not playing jazz. Like Lee Morgan was jazz and Clifford Brown was jazz. What is it that you're playing? And there was a reason for that. We don't have time to get into that right now. But that's interesting because audiences now don't know who Clifford Brown was.
Right.
They don't know who Lee Morgan was. Like the legends who played the music, they don't know who that is and why the older music was great. And that was the point. This was a guy who knew who those legends were, and he knew that there were things in what was playing that was falling short. He didn't know why, and there were reasons, but he just knew that, well, wait, this isn't like the legends I've heard. which I think which was a valid point. But the thing is, he at least knew. Now your audience, they don't know like what any of this was. So in a lot of ways, that's another reason to be engaging. Let them know, like, you're gonna have a good time and this is gonna be fun.
Okay.
And not have the attitude of, well, you should like what we're doing new music, and if you don't appreciate it, shut up. No, just
it's not
don't
cool.
have that kind of attitude.
Right.